is. Hey everybody. Sorry for the long delay. It was a bit of procrastination, a bit of me redoing my website. Should get a link, I don't know, somewhere at the top, probably, maybe the bottom, maybe in the middle. Who knows? But I redid my website. I'm redoing my website. I haven't done the mobile version yet. I was applying to jobs. I lost my microphone before that even, but I found it again, and then I was procrastinating a bit. But now I am not, and I'm making a video. How great is that, right? It's pretty great. So today, as you can probably tell by the thumbnail, I think I'm gonna have a pretty unique thumbnail. And by unique, I mean nobody's ever made it before. Not that it's good. And we're gonna be doing a little Big Planet movement, and I say that in like the simplest sense possible, because I only have like 20 to 40 minutes to do this, so we're not gonna go super all out here. We're just gonna make this super simple. And there's a little bit of an issue with one thing, and I'm not entirely sure how to solve it. So if you have any ideas, let me know. It's not a huge deal. Here, I'll show you. So this is the game running right now, right? A little simple platformer. You can jump, right? Move back and forth. And when I say little Big Planet movement, I'm talking about how they move back and forth in space, right? So if you press S, you go forward. W, you go back, right? And you have 3 planes of movement, just like in a little Big Planet. You can do it while jumping, right? You can, go in here. I made a little obstacle course just to demonstrate. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Is that wall here? Yeah, the wall is here. But the problem I was talking about before is this, where you just go through the wall just a tad bit, and you can't really jump when you're next to the wall. But it's not that big of a problem right now, anyway, in this stage of development. And also, when you go next to a wall, you kind of do that. But that's not that big of a problem. I'll try to figure it out. If you have any ideas how to solve these things, I think they're just iteration problems, like how quickly the collision updates. But it's not too bad, and I'm just gonna leave it like this for right now. So we're gonna try to do this from scratch. And when I say from scratch, I mean from scratch, like from nothing. And this took me like a day, like a whole day to figure out. Usually these take me like 12, not even 12, like 6 hours tops to do. This one took me a little while because there's a little I didn't know how to do it at first. I had to go through some trials, but it wasn't really that bad, even compared to some other stuff. So we're just gonna save this, save project, save the scene. Oh right, I missed it too. Play mode. Save the scene, and then we are going to start a new project. Okay, there it is. And we're going to call this, Little Big Planet Movement. And we don't need any of this stuff. Maybe physical materials, because I might use that to make it stop being dumb. And create. Alright, just give it a second. There we go. Okay, so we'll keep that camera for now. We'll need it. We'll need it for later. And I have my code off on the side screen. I should actually probably bring that up, just so that I don't mess up quite as much. And so to begin, we want to get a plane. Is that right set up? I can't tell. Whatever. Oh, wait, no, we don't want a plane, that's right. Too many polygons for my tastes. We just want a quad. Why? Because it's nice and simple. And we'll rotate it. And then we'll expand it a bit. And we'll expand it that way. There you go. Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. And of course, we also want a light so we can actually see things. We're going to make a directional light. Doesn't really matter how you put it. Then we're going to make a capsule. A capsule. Oh, how big is this in relation? Oh, okay, so we should definitely make this bigger. By the way, quick buttons for movement, rotation, and scaling are W, E, and R. It's the same as in the 3D program Maya, I think, if you ever used that. If not, then, well, you have no frame of reference. And I just told you how to do it, so good job. We're going to put him over there, because he's going to be running towards things. Right? And do we really need him to do anything else? I guess we need him to have physics, right? So we're going to give him component, physics, and we're going to make him a rigid body, right? And one thing we want to do with this rigid body, before we do anything else, is we want to go into constraints, and we want to freeze rotation. This is so that, I'll show you what happens when we don't have freeze rotation. When we don't have freeze rotation, oh, I guess there's no force being put on him. I'll show you. I'll leave it off for now, and then I'll show you. He starts wobbling and moving around and like falling over. It's pretty funny. Okay, so we're in assets right now. We want to go ahead and create a folder. Scripts. Whatever, just as good. And script, and then we're going to create a no, not a boo script. Who uses boo? I don't think I've ever seen anyone use boo. If someone uses boo, tell me, please. C#. We're going to use C#. We're going to name it. We're going to make one name movement, right? And then we're going to make one named camera. And we're going to do the camera one first. Oh, right. We don't want to name it camera because there's already a script named camera. That was just me being dumb. Okay. We're going to... Oh. We pretty much... Right now what we have to do pretty much is just delete it. And then make a new one. Because I messed up. And we're going to name it... Little Big Planet Movement Camera. There we go. Startup mono develop. The other scripts I had disappeared. Hold on. I'm gonna go find them again. And, so that I can, like, do this a little bit faster. 1 second. Okay, guys. I did it. I found them. So, also if I sneeze, I'm sorry. I guess my allergies are kicking in again. I haven't had any allergies for 2 weeks, and now all of a sudden they start doing a video and they kick up, of course. That's how it works. So we got our camera script here, and all we need is, this is essentially 2 lines of code. It's pretty easy. We're gonna make a public, and then we're going to do transform, right? Because we want it to be a transform, which means that we'll hold the information of an object that we give it, and we're going to say that we're going to name it the player. Why not? It's the player. Because we want the camera to follow the player, like in any good platformer. Or, I guess it doesn't have to be good to follow the... You know what I mean. Okay, so void update. I guess I deleted the update function. I kind of shouldn't have done that. Whatever. We can make our own. We're just that good. Oop. Alright. And we are going to do transform dot position equals, right, the position of the camera is equal to a new vector 3, and we're going to make that vector 3 be the player dot position dot x as the x position of the vector 3. Then we're going to make the y position be 1, which is the height of the player, I think. And then we're going to make it -9 as the z. and that will put it -9 units away from the camera, which is perfect. And that's it. That's all. So if we go back in here, if we put this on the camera, and then we go into here, we need a player transform. Just drag the capsule. Boop. There we go. Now it's the player. Now when you start the game, it's directly in front of the player. Oh, right, I did this differently than I did last time. Okay. Actually, instead of go ahead and changing the code to make the rotation different, I'm just going to do this. I'm just going to change it because we're good like that. Okay, this needs to be a little wider. There we go. That's kind of far away, actually. Let's make this 4. Is 4 good? Yeah, that's much better. Although I feel like the height isn't as high as it should be. You might have to change this depending on, how you do. There, that's good. That's a good height. Okay. We're going to make this a little bit wider so that when we do it, you see, we don't see the edge there. It's just a little quality of life thing. Okay. And that's the camera script. That's really all we need for the camera, right? And now what we're going to do is we're going to take our movement script and we are going to start typing out. First, we're going to make him move, and then we're going to make him jump, and then we're going to make him move back and forth, right? And so before we do anything, I just want to go up here, make a comment, which is a double slash, which means that whatever is written after this double slash, like over here, has no impact on the code whatsoever. It's just notes. And we're going to make a note about the positions that we want the character to be in. Okay, so we're looking at the Z position here, right? That's him moving back and forth in space. So I think the middle position will probably be... Yeah, we'll make it 5, right? Then we'll make this far position be 8. And then this position be 2. Yeah, so that's 3 difference between each one. That should be very visible, and that's what we want. We want the player to be able to see that they're moving back and forth in space. So we're going to do forward position equals 2. We're going to do the middle position equals 5. Sorry, hold on. I gotta be gross for a second. I'll blow my nose. Future me, edit that out. Middle, and then we want the back position to be 8. Alright? Simple enough. And then we're gonna get rid of this. We're gonna get rid of that. We're gonna put that down there. And we're gonna put that down there. Do we even need the start function? Do we even need the start function? The answer is yes, we do. Yes, we do. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and make all of these variables that we're going to use. We're going to use all of them. We're not going to use all of them right away. So I'll just... Yeah, I'm just going to do all of them. I'm sorry if it's confusing, but there are like 7 that we need to make. So, okay, so first we're going to make a public transform, right? And we're going to use this for when we're jumping. This is the floor, right? So we want to be able to tell when we're hitting the floor. And then we're going to do a public float And then we're going to name this move speed. Right? This is going to be how fast we're moving. The slower you move, the better your physics will react to things. Which I found out. That's part of the whole kind of clipping through blocks thing, is that I'm moving too fast. But if I move any slower, then it's horrible. So I might just have to scale everything down. Maybe. I don't know. And again, if anybody has a way to fix that, let me know. But just so I don't have to go through the troubleshooting process. Private bool, and we're going to do can jump. And this is going to be for telling if the player can jump or not. And that'll be if they're touching the floor. If they're touching the floor, they can jump. If they're not touching the floor, they cannot jump. Private bool. Moving on down. Moving down. Moving down. There we go. Private bool. Moving up. Private float. Y position. Okay. Private float. Sorry, I was just taking out my code for a second, making sure everything was alright. Okay, so these are all the variables we're going to need throughout the whole thing. Don't worry about it right now. I'm just going to go over the ones that we need for now. So let's see. First, we're going to make our starting position exactly where we want it to be. So transform dot position. This is going to be the position of the player when they start the game. Equals new vector 3. And then we're going to do, let's see, where is he in the world? Minus 12, whatever that is. What does he at? We'll just put him at 1. 1. Oh, we need to do 0.0 f. Oh, we need to put f here. And we don't even need to do that. We can just do 12f. We can do 1f, and then we can do, let's see, what should Z be again? What do we see the middle position is? Up here we see we set it to 5. So 5f. Alright. Alright. So now we have this player position set, so he'll always start there at the beginning of the game. Yep, perfect. Okay. Do we set it so that gravity? Yeah, we have used gravity. Okay, we don't need to see any of this stuff. Okay. So let's go back here. We're gonna start making our first functions. Oh, right, I gotta do input. Okay, so guys, we've gone over input before, so I'm just going to do this pretty fast. But input, we got axes. We have, this many buttons. How many buttons do we need? Let's say we need 5 buttons, right? Because we got all the directional keys in space being used, right? So we need 20 buttons. So we're going to name this one A, and we're going to make it A. Then we're going to make this, oops, we're going to make this S, name it S. We're going to name this one D, and we're going to make the positive button D. Lowercase button on the keyboard is, for the letter keys, is always what it is in Unity, right? Positive button is the Unity code, what Unity thinks that the button is. So you tell it what it thinks it is, and then you name it whatever you want. And this is what you refer to in the code. This is what Unity refers to on your machine. Let's see. I need W. I'm doing these way out of order. A is DW. And then we're going to name this space. And what did I think that the button for space is just space. I think that's what Unity calls it. I'm not sure. But we're just going to call it that. If it works, it works. If it doesn't work, then I guess I'll have to look it up again. So now that we have all of these set, right, we're just going to go back into our code. And the first thing we want to do is make it so that the player can move, right? So we're going to go into our update function, and we're going to do an if statement. And we're going to do if input, right, input dot get button A, right? So if the A button is pressed, then we want to do transform dot position. We want to change the position of the player to equal transform dot position plus transform dot transform direction, right? This is a certain direction that the player is going to be moving. This is actually a pretty easy way to remember how to do it. And vector 3 dot left, right? And then we're going to do times move speed. And so what this does is it makes it so that the player position, every time it updates, it changes the player position to be what the player position is plus the left position, so it's essentially plus 1, times the move speed, right? And we're going to do the move speed like, I don't know, 0.1 or something. So that means it's 1 times 0.1. You know, you can do that math. For some reason, I don't feel like doing it right now in my head. And so that means that just the left position of the transformed opposition is being altered, which means that he'll start moving left, which is great. And that's what we want to do. We'll set the move speed after we get this next one. We're going to do if input get button, and we're going to do D. We're going to do the D button. We're going to do transform dot position equals transform. We're basically doing the same thing, but we're going to do transform dot transform direction vector 3 negative vector 3 left, rather, as opposed to just regular vector 3 left. Position plus transform dot transform direction negative vector 3 dot left times move speed. And what you will see is that we have made it so that our player moves. It's that easy, people. That easy. If you want to add more directions, you can add more directions. But we need to, first of all, I almost forgot, we need to add that, right? And we want the move speed to be 0.1. And we want the floor, well, we'll just do this for now. We don't need it until later, but we're just going to do it so I don't forget. Alright, and you'll see the player now moves. And see, that is because we didn't set this gravity to that. Now he falls flat on his face, and it's hilarious. Right? Whee! Okay, so how we change that, I'm going to show you how to change that before we do anything else. See this, we'll see this in here in the rigid body? We want to go to constraints. We want to freeze the rotation, right? Because we don't want him to rotate. He's just doing whatever. We don't want him to rotate unless we give him an animation to rotate, which we're not going to do. I'm sorry I got your hopes up for a split second there. I'll do that in the future. But, so now, when we play the game, when he moves, he doesn't fall over. How great is that? That's just the best, right? I'm not going to bother putting up... I had walls at the end for the demo in the beginning, but I don't really feel like putting it up. I think you're smart enough not to jump off the cliff unless you want to. Now that we have him moving back and forth, we are going to make it so that he can jump. And this is the part I had to look up a little bit, because I've never made a platformer type thing before, right? So I haven't had anybody jump before, but it's not that hard. It's not really as hard as I thought it would be. The hardest part turned out to be the moving backwards and forwards. I guess, looking back, that probably seems kind of obvious, but I didn't think it would be the hardest part. So let's do the can jump. We're bringing the can jump into this, right? So if he can jump, if he can't jump, then oh yeah, okay, so this is what's going on. So we're going to, if he can't jump, we're going to accelerate his fall a little bit. And we're going to do rigid body, because we only want him to be able to jump when he's touching the floor, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to accelerate his fall so he hits the floor faster. And it looks like a nice jump instead of like a floaty. Woo, he'll start to actually gain momentum as he falls. Rigid body dot add force, and we are going to. It requires a vector 3 to show where we are adding the force, right? So we want the vector that it applies force to be 0, and then negative 10 f, and then 0. So that means it's going to apply negative 10 force directly down, because y is the up-down axis, right? And negative means it's going down. So that means that when he can't jump, he's going to be pushed down. And he can jump whenever he's touching the floor. So whenever he's not touching the floor, he's going to be pushed down. And we are going to do an else-if statement. Else if, and then we're going to make some conditions. We're going to say input, right, dot get button, and the button we want is space, right? Space. And then we're going to do, if we press space, and, that's what these mean, right? And he can jump, then, I don't know why it does that. If anybody knows how to get it to stop doing that, tell me. Can jump, right, equals false. That means that we've started jumping, so we turn it to false. And rigid body dot add force. We want this one to be 0. You have to be kind of forceful with this, especially when your thing has mass, like I gave it in the rigid body. 250.0 f. We're probably gonna have to fiddle with this a little bit. I don't think I have to add f to 0. Maybe I do. I'll just do it. I'll just do it. Why not? Alright. Just to be safe. So what that means is that now... Oh, right. One important step I completely forgot. We need to make it so that the player... Right now the player essentially can jump is never set to true, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to make a function here. We're going to make it a collision function, right? Function is something that just does what we tell it to. There are a bunch of different functions. This one in particular is going to be on collision stay. So when we collide with something and stay on it for more than one frame, right? If it updates again and it's like, whoa, you were on there last frame, that means you're staying there. then we're going to have it turn can jump to true if we're touching the floor. So void on collision stay. I think that's it. And then we need something for it to actually collide with. So we're going to make it collision, right? Oh, that's not how you spell collision. Collision, and then we're going to make that collision. We're just going to call it collider because, you know, why not? It's easy. That's easy. All right, and then we're going to do if that collider that we named, that collision, this collision that we named collider. That's actually probably confusing. If the collision that we named collider, right? We're going to be able to reference that inside the function. So collider, if collider.transform is equal to floor, right? So we're saying, sorry, if this collision that we named up here collider, if that the transform of that is the same as floor that we set up here, then what we want to do is we want to go ahead and set can jump to true. And that's the whole thing. And we should be able to jump now. I hope. Please. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. We're jumping. How great is that? That's wonderful. I'll answer that for you because you can't talk. Alright. So now that we've done that, this is probably the smoothest that this has ever gone. Guys. This is gonna jinx it, but I think we're doing pretty good right now. Okay. So, now that we have it jumping, we want it to start moving back and forth in space, right? We want it to move towards the camera when we press S, and away from the camera when we press W. And honestly, that's a crap load easier than the way Little Big Planet actually did it, which is like you have to be jumping and push another button, and like sometimes it doesn't register. It was weird. But I wish they made it a little easier, but it was still a fun game. Okay. So let's see. So before we do anything with that, we want to get this Z position variable that we made up here, right? Z position. We want to use that to store the Z position of the player, as it is right now. And this is going to be important later. I'll show you. It's really more of just like making sure that everything's okay. It's not like vital. It's not something that makes it function correctly. It's more like a failsafe. So we want to go ahead and make an if statement after that, and we're going to do I am bad at spelling today. Input dot get button, and then we're going to do S, right? And then we're going to do if you press S. We are going. Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, so there was a problem. I tried to make it so that so how it was going to work is we're going to make a function that moves the player, right? We're going to make a function that moves the player back and forth for us. So in here we essentially just call the function. But that didn't work because for some reason, even when the position in the game says 2, and I set the player's position to 2, and I said, if the player's position is 2, then do this. It still would not do it. And then I made like a range. I said like if it's above 1.9 and below 2.1, then do it. And it worked like that. So we're going to make a bunch of stupid ranges. I don't know why it didn't pick it up, but this is what we're going to be doing. I'm sorry if it's convoluted, but we have to do it for some reason. So we're going to do... Oh, this has to be different now. Okay, so we have 2 as our bottom position, right? So if Z position is less than 1.9, right? Yeah. It's less than 1.9, and is greater than 1.9, sorry, and z position is less than 2.1. Right, we gotta put the F's. Can't forget the F's. I hate stupid ranges. I hate that, but I gotta do it. Hate is a strong word, and I don't use it very often, but here it is very appropriate. So we're going to do moving down, and we're going to do true, right? That means that the player is going to be moving down, like towards the camera, right? Oh, sorry, I'm being gross again. Okay. Y position. And we're going to, this is what we're, the Y position is going to be, I think that's going to be the target, right? What we're moving to. No. Why are we changing the Y position? Why does the Y position matter? Please tell me why the Y position matters. Ah, okay. Okay, yeah, that's it. Okay. So, this is going to help give us momentum when we actually move back and forth. So, I'll show you in a little bit. And we're going to make Y position is equal to, let's see, we're moving down, right? Oh, I'm a dummy. If we're at 2, that's our lowest point, right? So we don't want to do that. So we want to make this 4.9, and then this 5.1. And then we're going to make the Y position, the position that we're moving to, we're going to make that 2.0. Right? Because that's the bottommost position. Then we're going to make another one, else if, and we're just going to copy this. And we're going to do 7.9 and 8.1. So essentially what's going on is I'm saying if it's in the middle position, 5, right? If the player's in the middle position and they press S, go ahead and go down to 2, which is the bottom, the forward. Oh, I'm messing this up. We're going to do this bottom. And then this is top. Okay, so we're going to, if the player is in position, like the middle position, then he's going to move down to the bottom position, which is 2, right? And if he's in the top position, then he's going to move down to the bottom position, which is 5, right? So we're just going to copy paste, and we're going to change that to a 5. There. And that's all we need, really, for S, for the S button input. And then we're going to do another one. If input dot get button, we're going to do W, right? This is when it's going to be moving upwards. What the hell? Oh, right, I forgot that. Okay. And if Z position, we're just gonna copy this, because why rewrite code when you don't need to? Okay, so we're gonna do up. So we're gonna do the bottom position first. 1.9, 2.1, and then we're gonna make it move up to 5, right? And we're gonna make this move up. Yeah. All right. And then, why is it still highlighted? All right, and then we're going to do, if this is 4.9, 5.1, if it's in the middle position, then we're going to move it up to the top position. And up. Yeah, that's right. Okay, we did it. Oh, so that's how you fix it. You just scroll up and down. You see, we already have almost 100 lines of code already. Look at how fast we're moving right now. It's only been, I'm actually not sure when we started, so that was useless. Okay. So now that we have all of these things set, right, that being the target position, that being the bool statement, we want to make a new function, right? and I named my function front or back, and that is a confusing name, and I don't know why I picked it. So we're going to name this move up or down. That's what we're going to name it. I gotta capitalize the O. Capitalize every word so that people can actually read it. Float. We're going to name this target. Right? That's the target position we want the player to move to. Right? That's how that works. Go back. Oops. All right. And then the first thing we're going to do in this is we're going to set the Z position of the player again, because it is very important that it is in the correct position when we actually do. Actually, there's nothing that would change the Z position right here. So I don't think we actually need to do it again. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm just gonna put it here. I'm gonna comment it out. If something goes wrong, I know what to change. Boop, boop. Alright. So, first things first, we need to do the downward movement. If moving, no, not moving up. If moving down, right, that means if we do if and we just put the variable, that means that it will be true, right? It will think that it's true. So if moving down, right, if moving down is true, if we put an exclamation point in front of it, it would be if moving down is false. But we don't want to do that, so we're not going to do that. If Z position is less than or equal to the target position, then we are going to make moving down equal false. This is so if the player actually reaches the target, then we're going to set moving down to equal false, and we're just going to make doubly sure that it actually is at the target, right? Oh, that's what. Oh! This makes no sense, this part. That's why. Okay. Yeah, we don't need to do that part. I don't know why. We're just gonna comment it out. We're gonna comment it out, and then if something goes wrong, again, if something goes wrong, I know what's up. Okay, so, and we're going to do else, like if the position is not equal to target, right? Then we're going to change the player position on every update. Transform dot position equals transform dot position. We're basically doing like it was before, except we are changing the direction that he's moving. Instead of left and right, we're going forward and backwards, right? So we're going to do position, and this is moving down. Plus transform dot transform direction, and then we're going to do negative vector 3 dot forward. So it's going to move towards the camera, which is down in my brain. 0.1 f. Actually, we'll do move speed. We'll make it so that it goes through the move speed. I gave it a set speed in this, but we'll just see how that works. You know, can't be bad. Well, I mean, it can be. Whatever. We're just gonna do it. Who cares? I don't. Okay. So if basically that's the entire function that we need. That's all we need to make it move towards the position. Isn't this great? It's so simple. I love it. So if moving up, then we want to go ahead and do make sure that if the Z position, not X position, Z position is greater than or equal to the target position, And we want to go ahead and say moving up is false. For some reason, it is not picking up on my variables anymore until after I type them. I don't know why that is. False. And then we're just not going to type that line, this line, because, you know, I don't think we need it. Then we're going to do else. And then the else statement, we are going to transform. We're going to basically do this thing up here, except we're going to do it. Why write code when you don't have to, is my saying. There we go. Instead of negative vector 3 forward, it is just vector 3 forward. That's what it's mean. We did it. Alright, guys? This is the entire code. This is it. Oh, no, wait. There's missing one important thing. We made this function, but we never call it. And so what we want to do is at the end of the function, we want to call this. So we're going to say move up or down, and we want the target, right? This float target. We can set that now that we've called it, and we're going to set it to Y position, because that's what we set our target to up here. Honestly, I should have named it target to be a little less confusing, but whatever. You understand, right? Right? If you don't understand, I'm sorry. I can redo this if you want me to. Let's see if that works. Should work. What do we get? Oh, did I miss a semicolon? Somewhere? Where? Ah! I'm a dummy. And then I copied it 4 times. Perfect. Okay. Any more problems? Parsing error. What does that mean? 113. Oh. Oops. Forgot to close that one off. Alright. That should be it. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So. And it works. Guys, we did it. That's it. It works perfectly. We don't need this stupid Z stuff anymore. Get out of here. Get out of here. We still do need it there, though. We still need it there. So go ahead and don't touch that. But this is the whole code, guys. We did it. We got it working perfectly. You guys are great. So I think that's it. I think that's all we need to do. Yep, we got it going back and forth. So, good job, guys. We did it again. Simple, super simple Little Big Planet movement.